opposition NPP to protest on September 23rd against what it describes as a, quote, state-sponsored harassment against some of its members following the remand of Abronye DCE into police custody for another week.
The bias is becoming too much. We are going to rise up against this unfortunate treatment. It looks like state institutions being weaponized to humiliate the New Patriotic Party.
We delve into this particular matter here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connect and Alleges, and also by Shield Pension Trust. Into the future with you. Tonight, the New Patriotic Party is gearing up for a fiery nationwide protest on Tuesday, September 23, 2025, against what they term state-sponsored harassment targeting prominent party members. This move follows the recent remand of the party's Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye DCE, who's been slapped with charges of offensive conduct and publication of false news. The NPP, led by voices like national organizer Henry Nana Boakye, vehemently claims these actions are politically motivated, aiming to muscle outspoken party critics. Abronye's remand into prison custody for 1 week has sparked outrage, with the party decrying what they see as unjust treatment. The NPP points to other cases like the Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Enchibo-Siakun, known as Chairman Wontumi, facing investigations for alleged fraud and money laundering as evidence of systemic targeting. Listen to Henry Nana Boakye.
This is very, very unfortunate. He's been remanded to police custody again for another 1 week. In fact, I am surprised that a misdemeanor could attract such high-handedness. The approach is bad. It's just abuse of his rights. You saw almost about 100 policemen fully armed to the teeth. Is he a terrorist? Has he committed treason? Is he a treasonable offense? Look, even when we were in court, we saw of a news item where Sofo Azoka, who has actually threatened to kill the minority leader, he was arrested, granted bail the same day, and he's been directed to appear before the court on the 12th of September or so. In fact, we even have the constituency communications officer for the NDC in Ebuakwanof, who openly said that they are looking for my good self, Honorable Anodompre, and the minority leader to kill, and that they are after us. The video is viral, and we have somebody who's been slapped with charges which are misdemeanor, and then the person is being treated as if he's a hardened criminal. Very unfortunate. It looks like this unfair application of the law, the bias is becoming too much. We are going to rise up against this unfortunate treatment. It looks like state institutions being weaponized to humiliate the New Patriotic Party. The police says that they need more time for investigation, that is all. Meanwhile, in their own charge sheets, they had stated that they have completed their forensics. The police is unprepared. So the fact that they are unprepared means that you should be kept in police custody for another 1 week. Very unfair.
Well, the NPP's protest underscores tensions between the party and Ghana's current administration, with allegations of political harassment flying thick and fast. Minority Leader Alexander Feomarking has also accused the Ghana Police Service of abusing the rights of Abronye by keeping him in custody despite him not being interrogated by the police.
The police is investigating and secures a remand. The remand is into police custody because you, the police, claim that you need him for investigation, further investigation. And not that he's being interrogated, nobody is interrogating him. So it is clear that his rights are being abused using the courts as a channel.
Well, lawyer for Abronye, Enoch Afuakwa, argues that the continuous detention of his client is a breach of the 1992 Constitution.
There's an accused person who has not pleaded guilty to the offences that he has been charged with, and a clear breach of Article 19(2)(c) of 1992 Constitution. But we believe in the rule of law in due process. Certainly, we are the instruction of our client to pursue their matter, and as far as that is concerned, we'll climb up to make sure that his liberty is restored. Certainly, he has been remanded into police custody.
When is the next agenda?
Therefore, 2 weeks. So certainly, we look forward that we come back on the due on the.
What was the spirit of your client? I mean, we saw him raise his fist to cheers for party supporters.
It's a man full of life. He knows this. That this is just mere political persecution.
Yeah.
And certainly, he's hopeful that yes, his liberty will be restored one day. And yes, he's pursuing what he's pursuing in furtherance of democracy.
There are reports.
This is Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you. Let's broaden the discussion and bringing stakeholders of this by speaking to Elikem Kotoko, his deputy national organizer of the NDC. We're also expecting to speak to the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nanabuach, as well as lawyer Martin Pegbu, to really understand what the law says in circumstances such as this. Alec, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, a lot of people argue that, well, why keep him in cells for a case that, as according to Alexander Feomarking, he's not been interrogated on. The man, according to his lawyer, has also not pleaded guilty to it. And again, we know that every case is bailable in Ghana. Why is the man still being kept?
Thank you. I wish I knew those who were everybody asking questions apart from the NPP. But in any case, do you recall anybody by name Gregory Afoko? Gregory Afoko was granted bail. The very people who are crying foul today never found their voice to speak for Gregory Afoko, who happens to be the brother of Mr. Paul Afoko. That notwithstanding, I am not sure that the NPP want to say they condone the misconduct of their very foul-mouthed regional chairman, who is not the only one known for that. And in any case, I am sure if they think they have anything contrary, they have prided themselves as knowing the law, the elitists. Why would they not pursue it according to law? So that whatever remedies ought to be done, I am sure the law will look at that and they will be served appropriately.
But I mean, they argue that this man has been in police custody for some time. I mean, obviously, he's not going to run away. Why not give him bail and let him appear? Because they compare that to Sofo Azoka, who they say has been arrested and granted bail, but Abronye is still being kept.
Okay, I am not speaking for the police, but let me educate yourself and our cherished listeners. You know, prior to Abronye's arrest, this was a gentleman who wasn't only foul-mouthed, but he was all over the space. Now, before his arrest, he had written to 8 countries seeking asylum. Such a candidate is already a fly risk. It means that he cannot even be trusted to be around. He can easily take an exit route through Togo or wherever. And so I think the police know best what they think should be done in the interest of the state. That is just my layman's view, not as a lawyer, not as spokesperson for the police.
What are these 8 countries? And you have evidence that he's rating seeking asylum.
Oh, but this was made public. Unless you are telling me you have not chanced on that.
I'm not aware.
I'm aware
the
UK is one, France, Italy, the USA, Canada. That is just 5 I have mentioned to you. I don't know the other 3, but I am aware he's written seeking asylum in 8 countries. And this was all over the media space.
Okay, do stay with me because his lawyer will be joining us shortly for us to interrogate this comment from you that Abronye is seeking to leave to 8 countries or seeking political asylum in 8 countries. We've been joined by Martin Pebu. He's a private legal practitioner to help us understand the legalese of this matter. But Martin, we understand that by now all cases are bailable. Why is this quite different that he's still been asked to be in police custody for another week?
Okay, so Kojo, because I'm not lawyer in the case, I'll be limited in terms of the facts because I don't have all the facts. So my discussions will be based largely on the law and the facts that have been put in the public domain. So you rightly said, even for bigger offenses, the ones that were called non-bailable, I went to court and in Pebu number 2, that was May 2016, Georgina Woods Court. They declared that every offense is bailable, but the meaning is that the judge will make an assessment of the person. That the judge will exercise a discretion based on what you put before the judge. But generally, it's common knowledge that small offenses generally attract bail easily. So that's to say, they are the easiest to grant bail. When I went to court, it wasn't over misdemeanors, the ones that have been slapped over or slapped on Abronye. No, I went to court on matters of rape, defilement, treason, murder. Yes, big ones. And even that one, the Supreme Court said, no, let the judge do an assessment. So these misdemeanors are at the bottom of the scale. They are the no-brainers, easy. So it baffles me that Abronye has been remanded for another 1 week. Because, you see, for a misdemeanor, the law is that if he's found guilty, the punishment ranges from a fine. So it can be 12 cedis. One penalty unit is 12 cedis. So if they say 2, 24. So it keep multiplying in 12. So a fine up to a maximum of 3 years. Maximum. That's the maximum sentence a judge can give for this kind of offenses is 3 years. So usually, when a judge is considering granting bail, one of the factors the judge can look at is the severity of the punishment that is being provided for in law. So in this case, the most severe sentence that can be granted when they finish is 3 years. So this makes it an easier case. Okay? So generally, bail is granted in misdemeanors. This one is at the same level with, let's say, Kojo Touchwood, you slap Sarah. Sarah reports, and then the case is taken to court. Assault, like the way Afenyo also hates the policeman. I hope that case goes to court too, so that Afenyo can also be held accountable anyway. But, so that is the thing. They are the same level. They are misdemeanors. And in law, even there's, let's even add this further in analyzing it. The law permits, since 1993, that's the current law. It's possible even it was in the old law. But since 1993, in this current Courts Act, you can even settle it through ADR. So these Abronye offenses, they can send a very high-powered delegation to IG to go and beg. And if IG agrees, the next thing you will hear is that IG, I don't know who is the complainant officially, but long story short, once IG, who has been what you've been called angered and injured, agrees, the former complainant, even if it's not IG who made the complaint, will withdraw. So what I'm saying is that so you can hear that, this case is being struck out as withdrawn or settled. So we'll not even go into it. It allows for reconciliation, etc. So this is not the type of case that police should go and lightly tell the court that we are doing more investigations, keeping in for 1 week. No, we can't support that in this our democracy. We can't. So we are pleading with IG to step in, okay, to rein in these policemen who went to say that they're doing more investigations, so Abronye should stay in there. So good. And I was just recounting, these are the same things we have been complaining about under Akufo-Addo. You remember Kweku Anyidohu? They arrested him because he said Akufo-Addo will not complete his term. And you know, that brings me to this. One point. Latif Idrisu went there and got hurt. He had to go to America for surgery. Right now, his bills are over $70,000. And we are soliciting funds to help him. So you see how this kind of bad behavior even brings standards by more trouble.
But I mean, must they go to beg the police? For example, you went to court. This is actually your baby. To argue that all cases must be bailable. So if the court granted what you sought for, and this, as you say, is a misdemeanor, must the court not then apply that to say, well, once this is a misdemeanor, the guy should be given bail, but should one go and beg the IGP before the guy is given bail?
Good, you are right. No, we don't need to beg. So let me repeat. I was just adding that point to show that this is not a serious offense. That's not to say I support what Abronye said. No. What I mean is that this offense that they are making a mountain out of a molehill, right? It is such an offense that the person, the complainant, if you go and beg him, he can write a letter to the court that, please, even bigger offenses, the complainant
call has been put on hold. So, please wait.
Do I still have Martin? Lawyer, do I still have you?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, yes.
So it was just to show that it's not a complex case. It's even one that IG can say are forgiving. Just like the way, you know, the online, you see a case where Manasseh Azure said some things about Apietu IG. They didn't take Manasseh to court. I hope it is not fake. But you see a reference to useless pig, something. IG, Asante Apietu, did not cause his boys to arrest Manasseh Azure. Manasseh Azure was not taken to court. He came and apologized, and that was it. As I said, I'm not supporting the contents of what Abronye said, sure, but we are analyzing the law. We have seen that we can allow for reconciliation, okay, when it comes to certain offenses. And I'm saying that these ones that Abronye is facing trial for, there are some of those. So you don't use bail as punishment. Even without it being a small offense, under law, you are not to use bail as punishment when you've not yet tried the person and found him guilty. But in this particular case, my suspicion is that that is what is being done. There's no need to keep Abronye for one more week. Monday, they can go back to court and grant him bail.
We also do understand that Abronye himself has been seeking asylum in other countries. Could that be a factor on which the court could have said, okay, then be in there for some time until the police gets the investigation done?
Oh, no. I mean, well, that's my opinion. I don't think so. Look, you see, we can do some sophistry if you want. So there are two answers to it, but it depends on where you sit. I am for expanding personal freedoms. What you have said, yes, in law, somebody can say his attempt to seek asylum means he can flee. But I'm telling you that Abronye is regional chairman. You know what that means of NPP, the largest opposition party, and even until about 8-9 months ago, they were in office. It's a big position. They're saying Abronye will flee Ghana over a misdemeanor. Oh, and tarnish. Abronye is a young man with so much life ahead of him, and he will just flee. So if I was analyzing, I wouldn't buy the argument that Abronye will flee, because I'm looking at him having strong social ties. You know, the kind of horse trading, negotiations, and campaign it takes to be able to become a chairman of a party. So I look at that and see that, no, he's strongly rooted to become chairman. It's not a walk in the park. It's a lot of horse trading, a lot of skilled negotiations and campaigns, etc. So that shows that this is a man who has strong links in the country. So I would look at that and say, no, this man is not a flight risk. Maybe if he was, pardon me, I'm just facing the truth, assuming a young unemployed man, maybe just out of SHS, he's unemployed, no wife, no kids, nothing, and he writes a petition like that he wants asylum. Yes, that one you could say generally his chances of being a flight risk are higher. But Abronye is the chairman of the regional chairman, and I'm saying that from the little that I know, elections in Ghana, you know, it's not to win an election like that at the regional level. It's a very keen context, very complex. You and I are not even tutored in how to win such elections. And I'm saying that when a man goes through that process and becomes a chairman, please, it tells you that he has something that you and I don't have. I may be a lawyer, but not a politician. I don't understand his trade, or if I call it something like that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Just in a minute, what options does his lawyer have here? Once he's been put in prison custody, what options does he have until that 1 week is over?
So one, he can rush to the very court itself. So usually there's this practice where you can apply for the bail again even before the next 1 week. Yes. So sometimes a judge will tell you going this accused is going for a week, whatever days, but you can go. You abridge the date. So there are documents we file that the judge should bring it forward. So they can file and go on Monday, right? Or even if not Monday, Tuesday. Then there's also the other option that they'll go to the High Court. The High Court one, I'm thinking that if they are not careful, that would take more time because you have to go and serve the Attorney General. Attorney General is likely to say, look, we don't have the docket, right? From what I understand is the police that prosecuted this case, right? So they have the docket. So if you go back to them, if you took an application back to the same judge, your chances generally are higher. Let's mention this. Do you remember Oliver Bakavoma last year when we were complaining, the Galamsey one? You see, they went to the High Court. I'm not saying it was wrong, but I was just showing that when they went to the High Court, you see that it took a number of days, adjournments, etc.
Right.
And then you see how the whole country, we came down against the judge and told the judge we didn't like what was happening, etc. But the delay. So if you went back to the same judge in the circuit court, generally it will be faster.
Okay, I'm grateful to you. Martin Pebu is a legal practitioner speaking to us there. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Let me bring him now. Haruna, I mean, the police is taking your regional chairman through legal procedure. Why must your party, demonstrate against what the law mandates an entity like the police to do?
Thank you very much. I think that your question is legitimate. However, the legitimacy of what we also want to do is also found in the law. To demonstrate is one act of the law, which is very lawful. And as you also indicated, that the police is acting on the processes of the law. However, I am happy that you are speaking to Lawyer Pebu. This is a case of misdemeanor. We all know, even murder is entitled to bail. But this is a case of misdemeanor. Today, we are now understanding that Chairman Azoka was arrested and he has been arraigned before court and he has been given a bail. Can you imagine in this country? You see, all these processes that we are doing is making mockery of our democracy. And I now begin to understand why we have dropped on our peace ranking in the world. It is very dangerous. We cannot continue to travel on this very road and expect to have a healthy democracy. Misdemeanor. The person has to be kept. Again, has to be kept in cell for good 7 days. That is 1 week.
Haruna, but I ask, you have the law court to battle this. Why resort to, say, demonstration as you're warning?
No, but you know that demonstration is also part of the process.
I get it. But
demonstration is also one of the lawful aspects. It's a lawful aspect. We can be in court and we can still continue to demonstrate. You being in court cannot debar you from demonstration. We are not going to execute or try the case on the street. We are going to tell our story. And we are going to also make sure that one aspect of the law, which is demonstration, is also being used. So all the processes that are used are not unlawful.
Okay.
Going to the court is lawful. Demonstrating is also a lawful means.
Okay, let me bring in Elkem Kotoko again because the national organizer of the NPP is accusing the NDC government of weaponizing state institutions like the police. Elkem, I mean, that's the sentiment of the NPP, that you are weaponizing state institutions.
Bruce, thank you, but that can never be true. This is a stock in trade of the NPP, and coming from the national organizer, permit me to say that their leadership have failed their followers. So they always want to now latch onto us to gain some credence for their next election. Now let me go to the point. The police service, as we speak today, the National Democratic Congress has not made any new recruitment yet. These very people in charge and all the people in the police service largely have recruited in the past 8 years. So why is the NPP rather trying foul?
But the leadership of the police,
we have weaponized the police.
Elkem, the leadership of the police transcends the past the actual NPP government. So that argument, does it hold?
It does, because I'm just letting you know that within the past 8 years, they have been in talks. The police service we have seen is actually a replica of themselves. And so I am not sure that it is justified for anybody to say that the police service is suddenly being weaponized against them. And President Mahama is the last person anybody can accuse of that.
But when your deputy, your vice chairman, we saw in Akotia threatening someone, has been arrested and given bail, and Abronye is still being remanded into prison custody, don't they have a cause to then say that the government is weaponizing the police against them?
It just can never be the case. It just can never be the case. That is why you ask them that if they are true believers in the law, and mind you, having said what I said earlier on, I did not say I was even in support of the police, but I was only giving you examples of the things they did in the past for which they are being counted, and now if they are making reference. Senior Martin even made reference to Afenyo Marcus. Afenyo Marcus is just walking free. Is he not assault a police officer? So let the law remain the law. Let us not be cherry-picking as and when it favors us. That is hypocrisy. So the NPP does not even have the moral fiber to be the one arguing this. But the law permits them to go through the processes to combat any kind of, if they feel they have not been treated well. And so, like Martin Pebu said, they can go to the court again to seek some particular relief. And if that judge will look through that, that's definitely done.
Elkem, I'm grateful to you for joining. He is Deputy National Organizer of the NDC. Haruna, let me give you the last bite here. Now, I mean, clearly, Martin has given you the way out. Go to court and get your issue out. Why won't you take that option?
There are several options aside what Martin has given. Yeah. I believe that the lawyers will look at the several other options. And you can have a concurrent options to be utilized, not just one option.
Okay, so you would look at the other options, not the one he's prescribing, right?
I'm saying that the lawyers will look at all the options, and I am saying also that we can have a concurrent option that we can apply. We can go to court and we can still demonstrate. We can picket. We can do any other thing. But I want to correct one impression. You see, the police service is not an arm of a politician. That you say that we have been in government for 8 years, and what has changed within the service of the police service. And I'm happy that you have reminded him. Police they take command. Command comes from authorities. And all those who were there even when we were in power as regional commanders have been changed. All the commands within the police service has been changed. So even if you think that somebody is even your friend, the person is acting on command, not friendship. And we have taken the police service as a professional institution. We are not looking at it as a political arm. So if the leaders are weaponizing the police to go against the opposition parties, then we have the cause to complain.
He denies that they are weaponizing any institution.
In Ablekuma, the police practice is that when somebody is arrested, the police will put out a release indicating persons who have been arrested. And somehow giving some reason. They never did so until we complained.
I absolutely agree.
When we complained that they were able to bring out the name, they refused to publish their pictures on their website. And when they went to court, nobody has seen these people in court. Not even a single media house saw them in the court. And up to today, nobody knows the faces of those persons who have been arrested. Then we are told today again that Azoka has been arrested and has been tried and he has been given bail. And the media, you don't know anything about it until you were told by the IGP. Please, let's sanitize our politics and make sure that the rule of law works.
I'm grateful to you. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Thanks to lawyer Martin Pebu as well, and Elikem Kotoko, who's Deputy National Organizer of the NDC. Up next is Ghana Connect. Stay on.